All right, let's get right into it. Tonight, we're watching a culinary empire absolutely collapse in on itself, while Netflix is busy building a brand new universe. Plus, a huge Hollywood family feud looks like it's finally over.
Your kitchen is a crime scene. Just imagine that. That's the message protesters were holding up on signs, not in some dark alley, but at the glittering Los Angeles debut of what was supposed to be the greatest restaurant on Earth. A moment of triumph that turned into an absolute catastrophe.
And right at the heart of this storm is the world-famous chef René Redzepi and his restaurant Noma. I mean, for years, these guys were the undisputed kings of the food world. But now, Redzepi is facing a crisis that's not just threatening his career, it's shaking the entire fine dining industry to its core.
And this really shows you the whiplash. On one side, you have the fairy tale, right? The world's #1 restaurant 5 times over, 3 Michelin stars, the peak of success. But on the other side, a nightmare. Horrific allegations from former employees talking about physical and verbal abuse, even being punched and choked, humiliation. It's impossible to square the two. And the whole thing came crashing down so fast. Look at this. It all kicks off over a weekend with that bombshell New York Times story. By Monday, a huge sponsor, American Express, pulls out. Wednesday, opening day for their $1,500 a plate pop-up, protesters show up. And then, by Thursday, it's over. René Redzepi resigns from the restaurant he made a global icon. The whole thing imploded in just 4 days.
In his resignation statement, Redzepi didn't really mince words. He said, "An apology is not enough. I take responsibility for my own actions." You know, it's a pretty direct admission. But for a lot of people, it's just way, way too late.
So here's why this is so much bigger than just one chef. This whole scandal just yanks the curtain back on the entire world of fine dining. For years, Noma's Kitchen ran on the backs of unpaid interns. When they were finally forced to pay them, that extra cost was actually a reason they had to close their original spot. It forces all of us to ask a really tough question. Is all this genius we see on the plate built on a foundation that's not just unsustainable, but sometimes flat-out abusive?
Okay, so from a collapsing empire to one that is rapidly expanding, next up we're talking Netflix and their massive multi-billion-dollar plan to completely own your screen for the next decade.
After the huge success of those extraction movies with Chris Hemsworth, Netflix isn't just making another sequel. No, they are building a whole universe. Here's the game plan. Extraction 3 is a go, obviously, but they're also doing an 8-episode TV series called Mercenary and a spin-off movie called Tygo. This isn't just a franchise anymore. This is basically a full-scale invasion of our watch lists.
And they are not messing around. To make sure this whole thing looks incredible, they are seriously leveling up. They hired the cinematographer from Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning to shoot Extraction 3. That tells you everything you need to know. They are aiming for that spectacular, jaw-dropping, Tom Cruise level of action.
So why should you care? Well, in these brutal streaming wars we're all living through, just making a good movie isn't enough anymore. Netflix saw what Marvel and Star Wars did for Disney+. Now they need their own interconnected universes, these huge events that you just can't miss, to keep you paying that subscription fee month after month. The Extraction universe is their big, loud, explosive bet to win that war. Now, let's shift from Hollywood blockbusters to a single, off-the-cuff comment that ignited a culture war firestorm, all thanks to a beloved TV icon. This right here is the quote that set everything off. Kathie Lee Gifford, talking about the LGBTQIA+ acronym, just came out and said, "I don't even know how many letters there are now. They've really got to stop with that."
Now, for some important context, she didn't say this on the Today Show. This was during an interview on Tomi Lahren's podcast, which is a very conservative platform. Gifford did follow up by saying her core value is simply love, but that first comment is the one that just went everywhere.
And that's really the big takeaway here. You have a comment from a TV personality everyone knows and loves, and it instantly becomes a massive headline. It just goes to show how much things have changed. A celebrity interview isn't just for promoting a book anymore. It's a brand new frontline in America's culture wars, where every single word can get amplified and debated by millions online.
All right, next up, we're moving from a culture war to a family war. Our last story tonight is about the very personal and very public drama inside one of music's most famous families.
Okay, so let's unpack this because it's a lot. First, the parents, Tish and Billy Ray Cyrus, split up, and it seems like the kids picked sides. Then things get complicated. Tish marries the actor Dominic Purcell. So what's the big deal? Well, the rumor was that her daughter, Noah, had dated him first. That led to this huge public rift. And that brings us to the final step, mother and daughter, Noah and Tish, walking a red carpet together, all smiles, for the first time in 5 years.
So it looks like the white flag has officially been waved. Noah even said in an interview that she hopes to be involved in planning her sister Miley's bachelorette party. It's a clear signal that the whole family is trying to move past what Miley called a dark decade.
And what's really fascinating here is what it says about life for these famous families. Think about it. Their most painful private moments, a divorce, a complicated new marriage, a fight between a mom and her daughter, it's not private at all. It becomes entertainment for the rest of us, debated all over social media. It forces them to perform their reconciliation for the cameras. That is a seriously heavy price to pay for being famous.
So, we've seen a chef's spectacular fall, a studio's master plan for domination, and a family putting the pieces back together. What does it all mean? Let's pull back and look at the big picture.
So let's connect the dots. The Noma story. It shows there's a powerful new demand for accountability that's changing even the most protected, elite industries. Netflix, it proves that the future of entertainment isn't just about single movies, it's about building these huge, sprawling universes to keep us hooked. The Gifford soundbite shows how celebrity voices have become a key battleground in our national debates. And the Cyrus family feud shows us that for famous people, that line between a private life and public performance has basically been erased.
And that brings us to the final question tonight. When we're all following these stories, the scandals, the sequels, the family drama, are we just consuming celebrity gossip, or are we actually watching a reflection of much deeper shifts happening all around us, in our workplaces, in our media, and even in how we define what's public and what's private? Let me know what you think down in the comments.